Okay. All right. Hope everybody can hear me okay. This is Chris Robertson, the head football coach at Worcester Polytechnic Institute. We will get started tonight with our virtual recruit night here. And if I get off track, I'm still getting to learn Zoom here. It's probably because I'm letting somebody in out of the waiting room. But first of all, I wanted to thank everybody for taking the time to be here with myself and a handful of our players, as well as some of our coaching staff here tonight, to be able to, really, I think, get the ball rolling with the recruitment process. And, thank God for technology, because without technology, I don't know where we would be with what's going on in the world today, and the ability to reach out and for our staff and our football program to be able to start moving ahead with the next class of WPI engineers. So we'll get started. The first thing I want to do is I want to introduce our staff to you guys. And my guys are in the chat room this evening, and the chat room will be open for the duration tonight. Just a couple of ground rules. I thought to make this easier, what I would do is I would just have everybody on mute. I've got a pretty good presentation here. We'll at least go until 9 o'clock our time here. And I've got a lot of information that I want to get to you. But certainly all of our contact information is on this slide here. So please, feel free to reach out to myself, reach out to anybody on our staff. Like I said, we'll have a handful of players in the chat room as well that you can connect with. Our goal here tonight is, if you have been thinking about this type of an education, if you've been thinking about WPI, to really, I think, spark an interest in each of you to take a real serious look at our university. Because I think, at the end of the day, the things that you are looking for from your college experience, first and foremost, it's not football. First and foremost, it's getting the best education possible that you've worked so hard to set yourself up for through the work, the dedication, the job that you have done in the classroom, the classes that you've taken, the rigor that you've taken. You want to kind of match it up with that next level. The second thing, obviously, I believe that if you're here tonight, you're taking time out of your schedules. Football is something that is really important to you, and that's obviously something that's really important to us here at WPI as well. We work hard to be a championship football program, so we're going to give you a lot of information about the academics. We're going to give you a lot of information about our football program and our championship culture here at WPI. And the last thing, which I think it's limited for what we can do under the circumstances or in this venue, but to try and get a feel for university to see if it's right for you. And I think that, regardless of the technology, I do think it is going to be a mad scramble once the world kind of opens back up for recruits and their families to get out and really explore campuses and, go face-to-face with people on campus and coaches and players and facilities and, really get a feel for things. And I think at the end of the day, those are the three most important things that you want to look at and judge to determine where you're going to be for the next 4 years. I know that this is not an easy time, for you guys. And, for seniors in high school, it's not easy, but in a different way. They're missing out on their spring sports. They're missing out on their proms, and they're missing out on potentially their graduations and things like that. But really, most of them know where they're going to college next fall. And so here we are moving ahead to the class of 2021, and there's a lot of unknowns out there. And, I think that it's important for you guys to really explore, different colleges and try and narrow things down based upon what you're searching for academically, what your strengths are in the classroom, what type of football you want to play. And like I said, I know it's going to be pretty chaotic once things open up, when players from across the country are going to be going out and checking out these, great universities across the country. But I want to introduce our staff who's here with us tonight. Coach Kelly, Matt Kelly, my offensive coordinator. He's also our quarterback coach. He's coordinated our offense for the past handful of years and has done an amazing job with our offense. We broke a lot of records this past year. This was the highest scoring offense in the history, 130 years of WPI football, and the most points scored in terms of scoring points in a game. We broke the record not once but twice this year. So he's really done some great things. But you've got his email, you've got his cell phone number, you've got his Twitter handle as well in areas that he'll be recruiting for us in this class. Myself, I'm the head coach. I also coordinate the defense. I work with the second and third levels, linebackers, and secondary. You've got my cell phone number up here, and please don't be shy. Feel free to reach out to me. I know I've DM'd a lot of you guys on Twitter. I've been reaching out to you guys, confirming the event with us tonight, via email. But please, like I said, feel free to reach out to us. And I think one thing that's going to lack tonight that we'll work to build upon is kind of the personal touch, the one-on-one stuff. But, we'll work hard to do that, after this is over, where we can get you to, really, I think, get a really good feel for the human part of the experience from the perspective of what WPI is all about. Coach Galen Holmes is my special teams coordinator. I know we've got some specialists out there. He works side by side with me on the defensive side of the ball and coaches the defensive line as well. Like I said, his email is Twitter, cell phone number up there. Coach Mike Kelly, my offensive line coach, has been in this business for a long time. And he's done a great job up front with our offensive line, paving the way for, I think, about 2,500 yards rushing this past year in our 10-1 championship run. His cell phone number, his email are up there as well. And Coach Farina, my wide receiver coach, his information is up there as well. I've also got a couple of players in the chat room tonight. Our two captains, Lou Dew is a defensive tackle from Connecticut. He is a senior in our program this upcoming year. He is in the chat room ready to answer any questions that you have. Our other captain, Tommy Farraco, is also in the chat room. Tommy is a local guy, plays defensive end for us. He's also a part of the ROTC program here on campus as well. So if anybody has any questions, about playing two sports potentially or being a part of, other pieces on campus, Tommy would be a great point man for you to kind of share his experience balancing, both ROTC, the rigors of that, and playing college football, and also at one of the best academic institutions in the country as well. We also have Phil Durgan. He's a junior fullback, Massachusetts guy. He's on there as well. And lastly, Aaron Whitehouse is a defensive back from Massachusetts. He is also in the chat room as well. So we'll get going with this. And like I said, I want to welcome everybody. I'm really excited that you guys are here, and hopefully I can give you a lot of great information on our football program, our university, our championship culture here, and certainly talk about the admissions and financial aid process when it comes specifically to WPI. So the overview here are the things that we want to talk about, and I'll make sure that I touch upon all of those things as we move forward. So we'll get going. So WPI has been around for over 150 years. It was one of the innovative universities in the country in terms of bringing technology to universities. And the project-based education here is like no other place that you'll ever see. And in fact, if you guys are part of STEM high schools or project-based learning classrooms, WPI really was the father of that type of a learning environment, a very hands-on approach to the academics that we have here at the university. There's over 4,400 students on campus here. I've been here for the bulk of 20 years. When I first started here back in 1999, that number was around 25 or 2,600. So the university has grown over the past 2 decades. The goal of the university is to arrive at 5,000 undergraduates and level off as a medium-sized national university here. We represent 45 states and 70 countries. at the university here on our football program. We represent, generally speaking, about 18 to 20 states in the country. Tonight, we have close to 100 people from close to 30 states here. So this is really fantastic, a great cross-section of the United States with us tonight. We're just around 40% female population. In terms of underrepresented minorities, it has grown a lot. When I first got here, it was around 10%. It's up, hovering close to 20% right now. Our president is, she's an amazing person. She's highly connected with NASA. And, you know, one of the things that she's worked hard to do is diversify our campus. And that's something that's been an important charge of hers, and she's done an amazing job of it. The other thing to note, and this is probably more for parents on this slide, is the retention rates here. For being one of the best engineering, math, science, business, technology universities in the country, 96% of our freshmen will come back as sophomores. In our football program, that number is probably the same as well. I think it's very close to 100%. We don't lose guys to academics. We might have guys fall off that, you know, don't want the commitment that college football brings. But all of the students here, they'll stay here, and they'll get their degree and go on and change the world. We are located, so WPI is located right in the heart of Massachusetts. So we're right in central Massachusetts. Worcester is the second largest city in New England, behind Boston, ahead of Hartford, ahead of Providence. For those of you who would not necessarily be a drive out here, but a plane flight out here, we are an hour, I'd say less than an hour, no traffic, but generally speaking about an hour from Logan Airport in Boston, which is a major hub, as well as Providence, which is my favorite airport to fly into, just because it's a little bit smaller than Logan, a little bit less trafficy, easier to get in and out of. We're about 45 minutes to an hour from Providence as well. But being in the heart of New England, in terms of, you know, what I think of is the job placement and the opportunities that are out there for this type of an education, we're in a perfect location. Where, like I said, we're close to Boston, Providence, Hartford, 3 hours from New York as well. So there's a lot of really thriving cities that, you know, that there are major hubs for, you know, the technology fields and the business fields and things like that. And they come here to campus and they hire WPI grads. We're also part of a consortium here in Worcester. There's 10 other colleges and universities within the city. You have Holy Cross here, which is the big Division I school. You've got Assumption College right up the street here, which is a Division II school. You've got Worcester State, which is a local rivalry game for us, Becker, Clark, a junior college. You've got UMass Medical School here. If any of you guys are interested down the road of becoming, you know, doctors or anything like that, or veterinarians, two of the best. We've got a great med school here and a great program with UMass. And we have a great vet program here at Tufts close by as well. And they have great relationships with WPI as well. The campus is not located in downtown Worcester. We are on the outskirts of Worcester. So when you're thinking about, again, this is mostly for parents, but, you know, safety of campus, it's an extremely safe community. You know, if you drive up by Holy Cross, it's a gated community. If you head downtown towards Clark, more gated communities, but this is an open community here with a lot of thriving residential areas, a lot of off-campus housing for graduate students, for our students as well, you know, when they move off campus during their 4 years as well. So just a really great atmosphere here. You know, we'll show you some of the facilities here as well. So this is our football stadium here. This is Alumni Stadium. It was returfed about 5 years ago. As you take a look directly off to the left, that is our $60 million sports and recreation center, which houses 2 floors of weight room, a suspended 200-meter track, a 4-court gymnasium, an Olympic-sized pool. Down in the basement, you have the varsity wing with the locker rooms for all of the sports, including football. And you also have a varsity athlete-only weight room as well. The other thing that's nice about this, too, we have a varsity athlete-only study hall on the 2nd floor of the Sports and Recreation Center, too. So we'll talk a little bit more about commitments and study hall and things like that as we go. But just a nice shot of our stadium, alumni stadium, where we play our home games. The rooftop field is adjacent to the stadium and the sports and recreation campus as well. We do some practicing up here. Obviously, we don't play up here. That's where our softball stadium is. And then on the end of the softball stadium is a full football field, soccer field, lacrosse field, kind of a multi-purpose usage for us. So we actually will get up on the rooftop to practice. And when I say rooftop, it's legitimately the rooftop of a massive parking garage, which holds about 550 cars within the parking garage as well. This is about 6 years old. This was another $20 to $30 million project that the university had underway as well. Across the street in the next couple of years, they're going to be building a new track facility as well. So athletics are ever expanding. Over the past decade, the university has put in over $100 million into the facilities and into our athletic programs here at WPI. It's a major investment, and the university is really behind us in the things that we do as a football program. One of the things I want to touch upon is what we call the WPI plan here. It is a very unique setup of academics. And, I think back to when I went to college, or a lot of your parents went to college. We went to typical semester schools where I took 5 classes in the fall. I took 5 classes in the spring. There are other universities, Northeastern comes to mind, that are the trimester schools where you have 3 big trimesters throughout the year. WPI is what they call a true quarter system. And what I mean by that is the classes start here at the end of August. And as a typical freshman, you'll take a math, a science, and an elective. You'll take those 3 classes for 7 weeks, and then you have a break in October, not a break from football, but a break in October. And then you'll take 3 brand new classes from the middle of October up until the holiday break in the middle of December. I really love it. Our players love it because they don't spread themselves thin with taking 5 classes and 5 completely different things, and then having to take 5 cumulative finals in December and trying to remember things from September. It's very short, it's intense, but you can focus on just 3 classes at once. One of the nice things, and I'm starting to get a feel for you guys and what your expressions will be when I say this, but if you don't ever want to take an English class ever again, you don't have to here at WPI. If you don't ever want to take a foreign language here, you don't ever have to do that here at WPI. So if you have a big smile on your face right now because you're kind of geared for the math, the science, the business, the computer science, for that type of kind of academic atmosphere, then WPI really may be the best fit for you. We have a non-punitive grading policy. You can get an A, a B, a C, or what they call an NR, or a no record in a class. So you're not going to fail classes here, which I think allows our students to challenge themselves during their 4 years and not worry about the GPA so much. And what I mean by that is, boy, I wonder if I should take this class. I've heard it's really hard. Go ahead and take it. Challenge yourself. You're allowed to challenge yourself. In addition to that, we have a highly flexible curriculum here. Majors, minors, concentrations. You do have to take a group of humanities classes and usually focus on one chunk of it. Again, I relate it back to when I was in college. I was a math major, but I had to take general education requirements, sociology and history and writing intensive. It's not like that here. You do have to take some electives and things like that, but you're really going to build a strong math and science foundation your freshman year. Once you kind of get towards the end of your freshman year, now you're going to start branching out into those introductory major classes as well. And we have a project-enriched academic plan. And this is something like no other place that I've ever seen. But, some places have a senior thesis or a senior capstone project. Here you have a senior project. So, for example, if you're a mechanical engineer and you love race cars, we have a senior project that's devoted to about 5 or 6 seniors each year where you're working on that Formula One race car and you're getting it ready for that competition. If you're a robotics guy, you're gonna build some extreme thing and you're gonna go out and you're gonna compete. And I don't know if any of you guys have seen BattleBots, but you can look up Bite Force probably the greatest battle bot group out there, and you'll see a guy who graduated from WPI as kind of the kingpin of that I think probably $1 million prize or whatever it was on BattleBots too. In addition to that, your junior year, you also have a major project that you're going to do. Now, each of these projects, your junior year and your senior year, each of these projects count for 3 classes. So if you decide to take your project within one of these terms or one of these quarters, you're not going to class. You're meeting with your project advisor. You're working in a group. You're solving problems. And it's really, I think, an amazing way for you to do a lot of things that will make you extremely marketable after graduation. You know, when an employer looks at you and says, tell me about your experiences as an undergrad. Well, it's not just lectures here. It's not just PowerPoints here. I built this, I designed this, I did this, I worked in a group. The other thing too is we're on hold right now with kind of the world and travel, but once that gets back, and it will be back by the time you guys are juniors for these international projects, if studying abroad is something that's important to you, we have over 50 project centers all over the globe, to name a few. Costa Rica, I think of the warm places, Australia, New Zealand, Puerto Rico. We've got them in London, Copenhagen, Berlin, Israel, across the globe, where there's a new one in Hawaii. How about that? Where you can go and you can do one of these projects and study abroad. And what you do on these projects when you go to different places is you take the knowledge and the things that you've learned here, you go into a community where they've presented a problem, and you use the things that you've learned to help solve this problem and make a community better. You know, we've had students go down into Puerto Rico, into small communities, and develop filtration systems for the water that comes down from these natural springs into their cities. Just as an example, another one, some of our kids went to a European city and designed, to me, which was one of the coolest things, but there's a lot of these outdoor kind of cafes and things like that in Europe where they actually designed charging stations that were built outside using solar powered or solar paneled umbrellas, and you can sit there and charge your iPhone while you're sipping your espresso in Italy. So some really, really cool opportunities and some things that I think you can get really very few other places at any other college or university. The next slide here is kind of a snapshot or a breakdown of, you know, the majors here at WPI and kind of the breakdown with the percentages of, you know, what the student population studies here. On the left, a couple of key things. 92% of our faculty have PhDs. What does that mean? That means that we invest millions and millions and millions of dollars into paying these awesome professors that are here all the time to teach you classes. If you've ever heard of adjunct professors have 9-to-5 jobs and then teach college classes at night, et cetera, et cetera. Here, your class structure, all right, you can take classes as early as 8 in the morning. You'll all be done by 4:50 p.m. And most of the time, our guys can get done by 1 or 2 o'clock during the season, so you can get ready for afternoon meetings and practice. But our practices are all after 5 p.m. There are no academic conflicts whatsoever, okay? The only time you would ever miss a class, our conference, we play a team in Maine, and we play a team down in Washington, D.C. So as you can imagine, we're about 5 hours from Castine, Maine, and we're about, 7-8 hours from D.C. So you're going to miss some Friday classes, but it's only going to happen once a year in the fall, all right? And other than that, you're not going to miss anything academic related, okay? Student to faculty ratio is amazing. I'm not going to lie to you. Come in, you take Calc 1 your first term, you're going to be in a general lecture with 60 or 70 students, but you're also going to have a smaller conference with 20 to 30. But by the time you're a sophomore, a junior, and a senior, and you start to specialize in your major, you're going to be in class with 10, 15, 20 students. And when you're doing a project, it's you, it's 4 or 5 other students, and it's a faculty advisor as well. So you're really going to get a highly personalized touch from our faculty here at WPI. About 60% of our students are within the engineering majors, and we have over a dozen types of engineering majors here. the top engineering majors on our football team, okay? Mechanical engineering, civil engineering. Those, I've been here for a long time, like I said, over 20 years or most of 20 years, excuse me. Mechanical engineering and civil engineering have traditionally always been the top two, all right? Now, with that said, job placement rates for those two majors, along with job placement rates for all of our guys, we're firing at 100% here, okay? We have 35 seniors in our graduating class, and I think 33 or 34 of them have job offers as of a month ago. Some guys came into camp having already accepted job offers, all right? Job offers, starting salaries, they average $70,000 a year, all right, for our graduates. Imagine being a 22-year-old, getting this degree and going out and getting paid $70,000 starting out. There are not too many places in the world that can tell you, all right, that those numbers are going to hold true year in and year out, okay? And the other thing, too, is what's going on, you know, the recession, the economy. I've reached out to every single one of our graduating seniors, and every single one of those guys, the jobs that they took are the jobs that they have. Because in reality, the types of jobs that are open to WPI students, regardless of what's going on in the world, there will always be a need for this type of education to build, design, make things better, go out and change the world. All right, so that's what WPI is going to prepare you to do. Now, realistically, our team is comprised of greater than 60% engineers, all right? We're probably about 75% engineers, okay? Other top majors besides mechanical and civil, all right? We have a tremendous fire protection program here. We have an awesome biomedical and biotech engineering programs here. We have chemical engineering here as well. We have a lot of different types of engineering here, okay? Our business program, if you look up the WPI School of Business, you are going to see one of the top business schools in the entire country, okay? You will see one of the top MBAs in the entire country. Why? Because everything that's going on in the world today is a bridge between technology and business, all right? What's another cool one? Data analysis. So here's a brief story for you. I have a graduating senior, Clark Ewan, was a wide receiver for us, was a starter for us this year, big playmaker for us from Boston. We got him connected with the New York Giants. And long story short, one of my last slides, you'll see employers of the class of 2020, New York Giants. He's going down to be a data analyst for the Giants starting in their training camp in July. How cool is that? All right, I'm not too jealous of too many guys getting jobs, but I told Clark, I said, boy, of all these guys in this class this year, man, I'm most jealous of you. I would love to have that job. So there's a lot of great opportunities for you out here. Other things that we have, computer science, we have robotics. If you're interested in just the sciences, biology, chemistry, maybe you want to set yourself up for med school, mathematics, actuarial mathematics. We have a lot of those things. Admittedly, that liberal arts piece is about 1%. We really don't spend a lot of time recruiting liberal arts guys. We don't. Because one of the things that's important to me is the relationship that our players have with each other. So you think about how close you guys are with your teammates right now, you know, and hopefully you guys will be able to run sevens this summer, and hopefully, you know, coach is going to open the gym for you at 6 a.m. You share football with them, you share your social time with them. But realistically, if you're kind of I think a WPI guy, chances are you're somebody who is exceeding your teammates in terms of the challenges that you're really presenting to yourself academically, okay? So when you come to campus here at WPI, you have the common thread of loving football and being passionate about it, just like our 100-plus players on our team. Social time, your best friends. Living in the dorms with them, absolutely. For 4 years, you're going to be living with these guys. But in addition to that, when you show up to that calculus class that first day and there's 70 people in there, you're going to look around and you're going to see some of your teammates in that class. So you'll have that common thread, and that's going to strengthen the bond of our guys. And that's really why we try and focus on guys that are focused really in the areas of math, science, business, technology, engineering, okay? All right, very good. So we'll turn our attention a little bit here to kind of the admissions piece of WPI. Okay. As you can see clearly stated here on this slide, there are going to be 4 options for you to apply to WPI. Okay. Now, we have not had early decision here in about 15 years. All right. We brought back early decision for a couple of reasons. Okay. Number one, all right, the demand for this type of an education, the demand for WPI is at an all-time high. Families know that it doesn't matter where you look, you're going to be spending a lot of money, probably a lot more than you want to, all right, on your education. And with that said, you need to make sure, even above that, that it pays off on the back end. So again, when we talk about return on investment, job placement rates, average starting salaries, available jobs that are out there, okay? That's why so many people are applying to WPI. That's why so many people want to be here at WPI. And now add into the mix, okay, our graduating senior class in their 4 years, they won 31 games. So they averaged between 7 and 8 wins in a 10-game schedule each year during their 4 years. This past year, we were 10-1. All right, we won our second postseason game in 3 years this year. Okay, we got these really fat rings this year. It's really nice. The last slide, I'll show you a picture of how beautiful these rings are. This was a championship, a conference championship, and a bowl game ring that we got for the team this year. People want to be a part of this. I don't think in our 130 years of WPI football, there's ever been more of an exciting time for me as a head coach and for this program, because I think that people want to be around a winner. You want to be around a winning academic atmosphere and a winning football atmosphere. And you want to be around a supportive family atmosphere here too. And I promise you that if you do make it to campus, you will sense that instantaneously about how much our coaches, our players, how much we love each other, how much we care about each other. Because at the end of the day, you can't win anything unless you know that the people in that program care deeply for each other, first and foremost as human beings. You know, so that's really where we lay the groundwork of our culture and where we lay the groundwork of our program. All right. So now, early decision versus early action. Some of you probably know the difference. Some of you don't. Okay. Early decision 1 and 2, as you see that, those are binding things. Okay. That's going to be for you guys who want WPI 100%. You and your family are ready to make a commitment of you and of your money as well, because it's expensive everywhere and it's expensive at WPI. All right, so that early decision 1 and early decision 2 are going to be for those students who want this place 100%, that if they're accepted, they're going to send in their deposit and they're going to be a part of this championship football program, okay? And as we kind of go through this process, we will start to individualize this recruitment process where we learn more about you. We get transcripts from you guys. All of you guys, we've watched film on all of you guys that are here tonight. There are some absolutely phenomenal, amazing football players that are listening to me right now that are also great students, and I couldn't be more excited about that. I really couldn't, okay? Early action, it's a little bit softer. It's a little bit less stress, okay? It's not binding. If you apply early action to WPI and you're accepted, you still have until May 1st to make your decision, and you do not have to come to school here, okay? Regular decision, to be honest with you, we don't recruit too many students in regular decision. And in fact, in this application pool this year, okay, we have 46 incoming freshmen right now. There are 0 guys that were regular decision, all right, applicants that are coming, all right, to our team this year, all right? So in years past, we had an early action 1 and an early action 2, and usually about 70% of our team is early action 1, about 28 or 29% are early action 2, okay? And about 1% maybe a regular decision. So when you start to think about timelines, feel free to take your phone out, take a screenshot of this, just so we know what we're working with, okay? Just so we know what we're working with, all right? So hopefully that could answer your questions on the differences between early decision, early action, okay, and regular decision from where we're at. All right, so what do we need from you if you decide that you're going to apply to WPI? Okay, first things first. Okay, we've got a cheat code for you that we can give to you probably later on in like August or September. So when you are officially applying, we don't want you to pay for your application. So we can give you a free application to WPI. That's not a big deal. Okay, so you can save yourself $50 and you know, take your girlfriend out for burgers or something. What do we need? We need your high school transcript. Okay, so the admissions office needs your official high school transcript, grades 9 through 11. They're going to also need your first quarter grades, okay, before they're going to make a decision. All right, test scores. All right, please hear me very clearly right now. We have been test optional for over 10 years, okay? SATs, ACTs do not matter to WPI, okay? And in fact, if you look me up on Twitter, our director of admissions and financial aid just wrote an open letter to the class of 2021, and it's a good read for you guys. So search up my stuff on Twitter, click on it and read it. And you will see that the guy who pulls the trigger and makes decisions at WPI, an elite academic institution, is telling you that he doesn't care about SATs or ACTs. So you missed the one in March, you missed the one in May, you might miss the one in June. Doesn't matter. Okay, it doesn't matter. Okay, now, if you have taken the SAT, when do we want you to submit it? All right, if you've got a two-part SAT of 1,300 or higher with a math of 700 or higher, submit your SATs. Okay, if you have an ACT of a 30 or a 31 or higher, then submit your ACTs. But if you have SAT math under 700, don't worry about it, okay? If you have ACT under 30, so you get 29 or lower, don't worry about it, okay? Don't worry about it, okay? Now, alongside that, what are the things that they're looking for in the transcript? And here's an important thing for you guys as well. Send me your transcripts. And the easiest way to send it to me is to send it to me via email, all right? Because I do, you know, if you send it to me via text, I'm looking at my phone, and I'm getting old and I can't really see that well. I got to kind of scroll in a little bit. And even Twitter, I usually do on my phone too. So if you can email me your transcript, that's going to be huge. What are we looking for? Okay. By the time you're a senior, you need to at least be in pre-calculus. You can't go from algebra 2 to stats. Okay. You can't. It is a requirement, all right, that you, okay, have at least pre-calculus. Preferably your junior year into calculus your senior year. But if you're going algebra 2 or stats junior year into pre-calculus senior year, that's okay. Okay, that's okay. All right. The biggest thing is rigor. All right. If you're just a college prep guy, WPI is probably not the place for you. So I'm sorry to tell you that. But if you're an honors guy and you're cranking up a few APs and you're crushing it and getting it done, okay, let's go. All right. But the easiest way for us to do that is to send us your transcript. And then more importantly, at the completion of your junior year, send us, doesn't have to be official. Email me a screenshot of an unofficial transcript or to one of our assistant coaches who's going to be recruiting you. We have it on file. We run it through admissions. They take a look. All right. They'll give us green light. They'll give us yellow light, proceed with caution, or they'll give us red light, just cut them loose and wish them the best of luck. Okay. All right. Other things. Essay, make sure it's quality, okay? We had a couple of kids denied acceptance this year because they typed a couple of sentences and that was it. Make sure everything that you're doing is putting forth your best foot forward to the admissions counselors that are reading it, because please know this, I don't make the decisions on you getting into school here. The admissions office makes those decisions, okay? So it's critically important. If you have extracurricular activities, again, personal interview, all right. And then the other thing too, okay, is put together a resume too. All right. I think putting together a resume and submitting that and showing how well-rounded you are, that's an important piece. Okay. So we will sit down with admissions a couple times a year and we have a list of guys that are important to us and we get behind them. We work hard to support them if, okay, here's the ifs. Okay. If you're strong enough academically, you're in the right classes. All right. Number 2, we want you to be a really good football player, okay? Number 3, we want you to be an even better person. All right. What we have created here, this culture at WPI is very special to me, it's special to our players, it's special to our staff. All right. So if we're going to let you in our little circle of trust, we got to make sure you're a great person. All right. And then what's number 4? The last thing is guys that want WPI. All right. If you're applying to 20 schools and WPI just happens to be one of them, to be honest with you, I don't really want to recruit you because I haven't done a good enough job to get you as interested in WPI the way that I want to. All right, the way that I want to. So that's kind of the things that we're looking for from the admissions perspective, and the things that we're generally looking for. Okay, is GPA required? Is GPA a important fact? Sure, it is, because if you're straight C's, you're not going to get into school here. Okay, I'm sure you're a great guy, great football player. It's not going to work. It's got to be A's and some B's. All right, it's got to be A's and some B's. All right, so really got to push yourself. And I know that we're in a very unique time here. Okay, you're trying to get work done, and maybe your little brother or sister's running around the house, and you're trying to do. I understand it's not easy. Okay, at the same time, this is what we tell our team, because right now they're doing the same thing as you guys. We don't make excuses. Okay, if our guys don't have a weight room in their garage, they're still expected to get the work done. Okay, if you don't have a quiet place to study, you're still expected, all right, to get the work done. And every single day, you need to work harder than the day before. Okay, last year, our football team motto was brick by brick. All right, it's perfect. Engineering, civil engineers, building a building, whatever it is, we're laying a really strong foundation, and we're building that thing each and every single day. Okay. I'll shout out to Tommy Farraco, my ROTC guy, but he gave us our motto for this year. So when our guys come to camp, I've already got over 100 T-shirts I ordered. They're sitting in my office right now. And on the back of those T-shirts, it says, "The only easy day was yesterday." How about that? How about treating all of our lives that way? I think that's the coolest approach. I learned from that simple thing to wake up and try to work harder than I did the day before. Okay? Very good. All right, so let's talk a little bit about scholarships here, okay? Merit scholarships at WPI. So if you're accepted to WPI, all right, so I'm personally basing these numbers off of what our 46 incoming freshmen communicated to me. This is not a hard line thing, okay? It's not, this is the official range of what merit scholarships are. I'm just telling you, this was what the snapshot was for the class of 2020 for our football players. Okay, and that's only 46 out of 1,300 incoming freshmen. All right, but that's generally, I think, a feasible range. So as your family starts to think about, how do we make this thing work financially? Okay, if you're eligible for a merit scholarship, and if you get accepted, once you get that acceptance, you should have a piece inside your little portal there that tells you if you've received a merit scholarship, okay, and how much that is. All right. There are other things, national merit, national achievement. All right. Some other things that are also available to you, okay, to kind of make that potential money even higher, all right, than just that. Okay. Now, merit scholarships, so you understand, has nothing to do with financial aid. It has nothing to do with your FAFSA, has nothing to do with the CSS profile, which is a form that we make you fill out for finances as well. Has nothing to do with that. Has to do with your grades, your rigor, your GPA, okay, your extracurricular activities, how attractive you are to the university, okay? All right. In terms of financial aid, okay, we have a need-blind admissions policy here at WPI. What does that mean? That means that WPI doesn't care how much your parents make. When they're going through the admissions process, they will base things solely upon what is presented to them through all of those requirements, okay? What do your 4 years look like? What are your extracurriculars? All right, if you submit your testing, that type of thing, all right? In addition to merit money, all right, now based upon your FAFSA and your CSS profile, if your family demonstrates a higher need, okay, then you could be eligible for additional free finance-based scholarships, okay? You also could be eligible for work study. Now, work study, take it if you get it. It's $1,000. It's easy money, all right? Basically, you can work in the rec center with us. I've got to work study one of my linebackers. He's my work study. Okay. He's working for me right now. All right. So it's easy money. So you have that. And then in addition to that, what else is going to be out there? Local scholarships, applying for scholarships through mom and dad's work, different things like that. And then there's loans. All right. And parents always kind of shriek inside at the thought of loans. Loans are a reality in today's educational world, whether it's good or whether it's bad. Even state schools can be expensive enough where you take out loans as well. All right. Now, this is going to scare your parents, but here's the reality. All right. Our average graduate, all right, of our graduating class, their average kind of loan balance when they graduate is anywhere on the low end of, let's say, $20,000 to $25,000. All right, all the way up to $100,000 in loans. All right, your parents are saying, "Holy crap, how would you ever make that work?" Et cetera, et cetera. Here's the reality of WPI. You're going to make so much money when you graduate, and you're going to make so much money over the course of your life as a WPI graduate here, that for you to pay back $25,000, $50,000, $75,000, $100,000 in loans, first of all, it's worth it. And second of all, this is a guarantee. Okay. So if you went to Atlantic City or you went to Las Vegas, all right, and you had 100 different colleges to choose from, all right, and you had $50,000 and you had to lay that money down and it's do or die. All right. I'm going to put my money on WPI because I know if I put 50,000 down, I'm going to get $1 million back. All right. Easily by the time I'm at that mid-career kind of salary range. Easily. The return on investment at WPI is absolutely amazing. All right. Absolutely amazing. So I'm trying to ease the blow financially for your parents because the sticker shock, how much is tuition? Maybe that's a question in the chat room. It's close to $55,000 a year. So this becomes a $220,000 investment, all right, for your family, just based upon tuition, all right, room and board. Now, here's the thing about room and board. Our kids live on campus their freshman year. They pay that extra $14,000 to live in the dorm, all right, and to have meals in the dining hall. But their sophomore year, their junior year, their senior year, over 90% of my guys move off campus because it is exponentially, dramatically cheaper to live in an off-campus apartment with your buddies, where instead of paying $14,000 to WPI, you're paying $300, all right, or $400 a month, okay, to a landlord. All right, financial aid application deadlines, okay? So you can fill out the FAFSA and the CSS profile as early, all right, as October 1st of this year, okay? Now, here's another little cheat code for your parents, all right? Now, when I'm done with this, I'm recording this. I'm going to put this thing up on YouTube, and I'm going to share this with all of you guys, all right? So here's one thing that your parents can get a leg up on right now to see what that FAFSA number looks like. The FAFSA is the application that you fill out through the federal government that they let you know kind of what your estimated family contribution number is as a family towards your education, okay? Here's a way to cheat it. They can go and they can fill out the FAFSA right now, okay, and put down that you are a student that is entering into college for 2020, okay? It's not illegal. It's not anything like that. And in fact, we encourage it because it's good for your families to kind of wrap their head around those variables sooner than later so you guys can start to plan, okay, as a family for the things that you can do, okay? So basically what that means is as you're kind of, putting together and filling out the FAFSA, they will give you a number back, all right, that says this is your estimated family contribution. So for example, okay, if it says your estimated family contribution number is $20,000, all right, what they're saying is that your family is expected or should have the ability to pay $20,000 each year for your education. That's never a number that your parents like. It's usually a number that's much higher than they think it should be, but that's a reality, and that is a number that every school in the country is going to take a look at when they're packaging you, okay? So if it's $55,000 to go to school here, okay, and your estimated family contribution is $50,000, you're really not going to get any need-based aid. You may get a merit award, but you're not going to get any need-based aid. So again, these are conversations that are going to happen sooner than later. All right. I think the kids that make the decisions later are the families that kind of hold off on talking about that. Okay. It may be something where your parents are like, we'll handle the finances, that type of thing. But please feel free to give them my information too. And I'm more than happy to talk to any of you guys about this stuff, okay, as well. The FAFSA is required. The CSS is required. You can estimate your numbers, and you can even use the previous year's W-2s, all right, for those things as well. All right, and that's more for your parents. Okay. All right, very good. In terms of rankings, all right, so WPI, where do we rank on the national university list? There's some other regional schools out there that are strong, and there's other schools out there that say, we're the best engineering, and we're this or we're that, whatever. Here's the reality. WPI is one of the absolute top national universities in the entire United States, okay? We are number 60 of all national universities on the U.S. News and World Report, all right? In terms of athletic facilities, career placement, there it is. How about that? Number 6 on Princeton Review career placement, okay? You graduating, you going out, getting a job, and making a lot of money, all right? There it is, okay? Study abroad program, all right? We talked about that a little bit as well, okay? I love payscale.com. I would encourage you guys to go and surf around. You can compare schools. You can compare average starting salaries, mid-career salaries, and things like that. We are at $71,000 for average starting salaries for you as a 22-year-old. That is awesome. Now, listen, I'm half joking, I'm half not. Some of you guys, coach, I'm going to the NFL. I want to go somewhere, and I want to play at the next level. You know what? That's awesome. And I want you to do that, okay? Are the odds with you or against you? The odds are against you, even at the Division I level, okay? So here's the plan. Have a great backup plan, and make sure that if it doesn't work out for you to play in the NFL, all right, and be on that draft on some Thursday night in April, this is the best backup plan to being a professional athlete. How about that? All right, how about that? All right. So we'll talk about football a little bit. All right. So I'm almost at 9 o'clock. I'm going to keep this thing going until I get through everything. I know I've gone on a few tangents here. I appreciate everybody staying with us. Okay. This was the greatest year in WPI football history. Like I said, we got fat championship rings. We won 10 games for the first time in the history of the program. Not only did we have the number 1 defense in the conference, we had the number 1 highest scoring offense in the conference as well, nationally ranked on both sides of the ball. Not only did we have the offensive player of the year, who's the all-time leading rusher in the history of the school, we had the defensive player of the year in the conference as well. We were the only football team at any level to win 10 football games this year. This was the 5th straight winning season of WPI football. We had 17 all-conference selections. How about that? There's 22 positions on the field, plus a kicker, plus a punter, plus a couple of return specialists. There's 24 positions on the field, all right? We had 17 all-conference selections, all right, in our conference this year. It was also the 3rd postseason appearance for us in 5 years. Before that, WPI had only been to the postseason twice in the early 90s, all right? We've been 3 times in the past 5 years. Our offense, like I said, was the number 1 scoring offense in the entire conference, okay? We are a highly efficient passing team. Coach Kelly, kudos to him, does an amazing job with our quarterbacks. He's been with me for I think 6 or 7 years now. We've had a handful of quarterbacks. Every single one of those guys has been amazing for us. 3rd down conversion percentage through the roof. 54% red zone touchdowns. Okay, and 2nd overall offense. National rankings, 13th in the country in scoring offense at 43 points a game. I might add, in conference, we averaged 50 points a game. Okay, how about that? As a defensive coach, that's my favorite kind of offense because we're going to win all those football games. 17th in total offense with over 460 yards a game. Balanced offense, rush for over 200 a game, throw for over 200 a game. Extremely balanced. Okay, and some other great statistics there as well. Defensively, all right, our kids are tough. They're nasty. They sprint to the football, and they're ticked off when they get there. The number 1 overall defense in the conference, Number one scoring defense, led the conference in interceptions. Okay, number one in red zone defense, and number one in rushing defense as well. All right, nationally, okay, we were 13th in scoring defense, giving up 2 touchdowns a game. Our goal is 17 or less. We hit it. All right, 19th in rushing defense. That is the number I'm most proud of because we play against 2 triple option teams that both average over 300 yards a game rushing the football, rushing per game, and we gave up less than 90 yards a game on the ground. 18th in total defense, 14th in red zone defense. Boy, were we stingy inside the 20, and third down defense. All right, our goal always is to get to the next down. We force teams to punt more on average than they did all year. And there were actually games this year we were punting only 1 or 2 times, all right, during an entire 60-minute game. All right. So, where are we at for this incoming class? Okay. We have 46 incoming freshmen from 12 different states. All right. We actually just got number 46 from the state of Washington. He'll be my first player from the state of Washington. I'm really excited about this group of guys. This is a big class. The past 2 classes were 30 in total, all right, each class. The seniors who graduate, they also came in with 50, and we graduate 35 of them. That retention, to have 35 guys stay at a 50, is amazing at our level, all right? And you can go and you can look at other schools that you're looking at and track their rosters over the past 4 or 5 years to see how many freshmen become sophomores, become juniors, become seniors. We bring in the right people, we keep them here, and we develop them into champions. That's what we do from the football perspective. We do it, number one, by caring about our players, all right? We do it by taking care of them. We do it by demanding a lot from them from the academic side, but also demanding a lot from them from the football side, okay? Now, as a student, when you come in as a freshman, what are the requirements? What is that like, okay? So you come into camp about 2 weeks before classes start, all right? This year we'll come into camp with about 120 football players on our team, okay? We don't lose guys during the season. We don't have guys that leave and quit and, take off during preseason and go back home. That's not what we do. Like I said, we find the right people. We find families that are invested in this. We find families that want to commit to our football program as well. So you got 2 weeks of preseason camp, and it's like wildfire. It's 24/7 football. You wake up, breakfast, meetings, lift, practice, walkthroughs, etc., and you go all the way through to late meetings every night, 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock at night. As a freshman, it's daunting. As a freshman, it's nerve-wracking. As a freshman, you feel like your head's going to explode because we're talking about terminology on both sides of the ball that you're not used to. So there's a lot that goes into it. Okay, there's a lot that goes into it. Once classes start, we gear it back down. All right, this is a highly academic place. So we call it the separation of academics and football. And what does that mean? Okay, that means that Monday and Wednesday mornings, you're going to lift in the morning. All right, we have lifts 2 times a week during the season. Okay, other than that, we do not do anything with our football players until the earliest. Okay, 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And a lot of times that's when we'll do our positional meetings. Okay, we'll do our defense, offensive scouting reports on Tuesdays. We'll do our special teams scouting report meeting usually on a Tuesday night or a Wednesday before practice. All of our practices happen after classes are over at 5 o'clock. Okay, on Tuesdays, that's our one full pad day where we'll be on the field for about 2.5 hours, 2 hours and 45 minutes. I'm a big pre-practice guy where we're going to go and we're going to kind of ease into it. We always work with our specialists for a 15 or 20-minute block before we even get going with practice as well to spend just some extra time on them. And then Wednesday is an upper day for us, about 2 hours on the field. All right, Thursday is an upper day, 2 hours on the field. Friday's a walkthrough. It's an hour and a half max, okay? You're going to have 20 to 30-minute positional meetings each day. You're going to have a scouting report meeting once a week on either side of the ball and special teams as well. Our first 2 games this year are Friday nights, but most of our games are played on Saturdays. Sunday is an off day. Sunday's a recovery day. Get to the training room if you need it, okay? Get ahead on your schoolwork for the week, all right? And then on Monday Monday, like I said, is a lift in the morning, and then at 5 o'clock team meeting. We put together 15 clips. We call them our EAT clips: energy, attitude, and toughness. And we have our coaches talk about different position groups during that time. We watch special teams together as a team. And then we'll break up positionally to review the entire game film, all right, from the previous week. Okay, so that's kind of what our week looks like. Like I said, during the day, there really isn't football. Okay, it's get your schoolwork done. The guys that I love are the ones who get their butt up in the morning, get a good breakfast, and they stay up on everything. All right, if you're going to bed late, if you're napping in the afternoon, if you're not eating breakfast, those are kind of warning signs for us that we really got to keep an eye on you, because you're not treating your body the right way, and you're not taking care of things in a timely way that you really need to as a college football player here, all right, at WPI. We have mandatory study hall hours. There's a study hall sign-in sheet right outside my office, okay? And each week as a freshman, you have to put in 6 hours a week. You're going to study a lot more than 6 hours, but you've got to give me 6 hours a week where you sign up right outside my office door. Go right downstairs to the varsity athlete only study hall so I can keep tabs on you, check in on you to make sure that you're putting the time in, okay? We have a Google Drive, a shared drive with our players where our upperclassmen sign up to tutor our younger players in some of those calculus and the chemistry and the physics, some of those introductory classes as well, okay? So your big brothers are going to look out for you, all right, the entire freshman year. When you come into camp, you will have a big brother who is a position kind of compadre, all right? He's going to play the same position as you. He's going to make sure that you get to breakfast. He's going to make sure you get to meetings. He's going to answer all your questions. He's going to help you move in the first day. He's going to get to know your family. He's going to introduce you to the entire team during preseason so that we can get to know you from your big brother's perspective, all right? During the break week, between the first 2 quarters of the first kind of half of the year, we sit down and we go through and track your 4 years to make sure you're in the right classes with other upperclassmen that are in your majors. What teachers to take, what teachers not to take, what classes to take, what are the best ones, what are the easier ones, what are the hard ones, all right? Everything that we do is built around allowing you to do everything that you want to do as a student athlete here at WPI. We have plenty of guys that do 2 sports. Both the heavyweights on the wrestling team are defensive linemen for us. We have plenty of track guys. We've got speed guys. We've got throwers. All right. I've had plenty of baseball guys. I used to be the head baseball coach here for 6 years. I used to love having baseball, football guys. We work all that stuff out. So if you're a 2-sport guy, there's no stress. All right. I'm a low stress guy when it comes to all of those things, because the reality is if you're struggling in the classroom, you're struggling as a football player. If you're having time management issues as a student, you can have time management issues as a football player too. So we will support you to kind of help you get your feet firmly placed on the ground your freshman year so that you can be highly successful moving forward here, okay? So we do have a really strong support system here in place. We keep a good eye on you guys. I get all of your grades. Our team GPA is currently at a 3.25. It's never been higher. So this season, not only did we win more games in the history of this football program, okay, but we also had the highest GPA that we've ever had here at WPI. So I'm really proud of the high level balance that our football players possess here, okay, in our program. All right. So one of the last slides here we'll move on to is kind of this life after football, our graduating class of 2020. So 34 out of 35 of our graduating seniors have accepted job offers before the first of this month. Okay. Notable names include Bank of America, General Motors, the New York Giants. I talked to you about Clark. He's a data analyst for the Giants. The coolest job. Pratt & Whitney, Raytheon, Texas Instruments. All right. The U.S. Army. There's a couple of WPI run companies down here. 0 Point Development. Was a captain of our team about 7 or 8 years ago, owns his own company locally, just hired one of our players. Code Red Consultants, one of the principal engineers of that fire protection group, was a linebacker here for us 15 years ago. He just hired another linebacker. And in addition to that is also paying for that kid to come back to WPI grad school and get his 5-year fire protection degree as well. So there's some really cool all right, and really great jobs that our kids are taking. And in the coming weeks, I've got some nice graphics. I'll be putting them up on Twitter of all of our seniors, just kind of thanking them. But the guys who have jobs, listing the companies and the positions that they have as well. All right. Very good. All right. So I know that I have gone over here. So it's about 10 after. So I will start to wrap things up. Just kind of, summing things up a little bit from my perspective. Why do I love WPI? Why have I been here so long? It's the people, very easily the people. I've worked at other colleges, other universities, but at the end of the day, I think about my 3 beautiful children at home. Sports or no sports, I would love for my 3 kids to go to WPI because I know that they would be in a caring atmosphere, a caring community where people are going to take care of them, help keep them on a good path. And I know that when they graduate with this degree from WPI, they're going to help change the world and get a great job. There's no doubt about it. Our football program, I think the sky is the limit for our level of success. It's a very true telltale sign to see that in these 2 recruiting nights, we have had close to 200 high school juniors log in and listen to me, long-winded, talk about our football program, talk about our culture here, talk about this great academic university here at WPI. So I know that we're doing something right. From here, I would encourage all of you, please feel free to reach out to me. Okay, we did one of these virtual nights last week, and I was on the phone with a handful of guys in the following days after just to talk and just to connect, see how everything's going, see how this chaotic world is treating them, how they're passing their time. What do you do for workouts? How's school going? I want to get to know you guys on a personal level, as does my staff. All right. Why should you choose WPI? All right. If you are geared this way academically, that's really kind of, I think, the starting point. All right. If you want to study criminal justice, if you want to study sociology or history, like I said, I'm sure you're a great kid. WPI is not going to be the place for you. All right. You could be Peyton Manning. You could be Tom Brady. All right. We could watch you on film and say, this guy is the second coming. But if he wants to be a criminal justice major, we're not going to spend a lot of time recruiting him because we know what our wheelhouse is as a university and as a football program here too. So the starting point are your interests academically. So if they line up with WPI, and I think that's a great starting point to keep this connection building. And let's try and build some momentum in our relationship so we can get to know each other a little bit more. The second thing is, I think really how important is football to you? For our guys, there's no football scholarships here at WPI, but you wouldn't know it. You wouldn't know it. We run this like a scholarship program when it comes to the demands of our program, the things that we ask our guys to do, the X's and O's, the schematics. We do awesome, awesome things here. We are going to win a lot of football games here, but it's going to take another great recruiting class, and that's where you come into play. So like I said, if the academics line up, let's stay in touch. If football is really important to you, let's stay in touch. And I think at the end of the day, if it's important for you to be a part of a family, I think that is really what separates what we can give you as opposed to those other places that you're going to look at. We care deeply about each other. And that might sound corny to you, but I'll tell you what, my boys play for me every single day, and they give me everything they got because I know that they know that I love them, and that's it. And that's it. And that's the God's honest truth. So if those things line up for you, then let's continue to stay in touch with each other. Let's stay connected. Let's try and build a personal relationship here. Work on getting transcripts to us. Don't stress about SATs. And at the same time, if it doesn't line up where you feel like you're not strong enough academically, that's okay. I wish you all the best, and that's okay. There will be a place for you, all right, to go to school and compete in a great football program. I know it. I want to just finish things off by thanking my staff and my players for being in the chat room. I can just look up and see that there were over 100 comments here. So hopefully my connection was good. Hopefully everybody could hear me okay. Hopefully I answered a lot of questions for you guys. And the last thing is I want to thank you. If your families are a part of this, I want to thank you guys very much. I know that these are not easy times. people are losing jobs, and school can be a struggle because you can't focus, and there's a lot of things going on. So for you to take this time to spend just an hour or a little bit more with me here tonight, with our staff and players here, it means the world to me. And if there's anything I can do to provide more information for you during this process, please let me do that. And I know for a fact that there are some guys out there tonight that will be a part of our football program next fall. All right. And if it's you, let's make this thing happen. It's never too soon to start thinking about applications in schools and things like that. And I really would love to get some honest feedback from you on how it went tonight. And if there were any other questions I can answer for you, please let me know. I will follow up with a recorded version. I'll send you the YouTube of this. If I can, I usually get my 13-year-olds to help me upload this stuff because I'm not good at it, but I'll upload this. I'll get it to you so you can take a look at it with your family. I'll send you a link to a virtual tour of the campus. It's a little corny, but you can see the beautiful campus that we have. I will send you our official highlight reel, which was on the sign up as well. It's about 3 or 4 minutes. That's it. I'll also send you an unofficial kind of year in review. It's about a half hour that was filmed by one of the close friends of our football program. And in addition to that, I'll send you our WPI RPI game from last year, which I love. It's up on YouTube. It was a local TV station did it. It was probably the greatest defensive game in Division III all of last year. Final score was 6-3, and we won the football game, and it was just a great, great game. So again, I want to finish up by thanking you guys for being here tonight. I will stick around in the chat room for we'll say about 5 minutes if there's any specific questions for me. And other than that, if you guys need to sign off, all good. I will kick everybody out. We'll say at about 9:25. So I'm going to shut off my voice, and I'm going to shut off my video here. I'll head to the chat room a little bit. But again, thank you guys so much. I wish you great health. I wish you to stay focused, to continue to work really hard. Don't make any excuses. Be highly successful. The more successful you are in the classroom, that's what's going to open up all those doors for you at the next level. So thank you so much. You guys have a good night, and roll tech.